And Shavua Tov. In this week's Torah portion, Moshe describes coming down from the mountain with the Ten Commandments, witnessing the Jewish people worshiping and dancing around the golden calf, and throwing the tablets and smashing them to the ground. And Moses says, when I saw you worshiping the golden calf, ve'espos b'shnei haluchos, which means I grabbed the two tablets and then I threw them down from my hand. And the question is, Moses was carrying the tablets. What does it mean he grabbed a hold of them if he was already carrying them? And one of the beautiful answers given by the Or HaChaim, a commentary on the Torah, is that Moses, when he came down from the mountain, the tablets were not being held by him, but they were floating alongside him down the mountain. And therefore, when he saw the Jewish people worshiping the golden calf, he had to actually grab a hold of them in order to throw them to the ground. And the question is, what is this meaning that the tablets were floating alongside of Moses? And perhaps the message is, we all know there's an expression, I felt like I was floating on a cloud. Life is full of stress and challenges and daily struggles and all sorts of anxieties. But then there's this feeling we get sometimes that we're floating. We're a little bit above the ground. We're not so rooted in the day-to-day mundane life. We feel elevated. Where does that feeling come from? So the Torah is teaching us that when we are connected to the commandments, when we are living the moral, righteous, spiritual life, when we feel connected to Hashem, to God, then we can elevate ourselves and live a life where we're in the world, we have our feet on the ground, but our head and our heart and our soul is floating simultaneously. This summer, this past week, a blockbuster movie came out that is the most popular movie so far this summer, and it's Barbie. Now, Barbie is a Jewish doll. It was created by a Jewish woman, Ruth Handler. But now this woman by the name of Greta Gerwig produced a movie that is the talk of the country. And in a New York Times interview, she explained what inspired this movie. And she tells the New York Times that when she was a little girl, she's a Christian woman. She grew up in Sacramento, California. And as a girl, she had a family neighbor, a friend, that their family was very close to, a Jewish family. And they would often invite them over for Shabbat, and they would travel together, and they were very close family friends. And she said every Friday night, the father would have a Shabbat dinner, and as the custom is, he would bless all of his children with the priestly blessing. May God bless you and protect you. May he shine his countenance upon you. May he grant you peace. And whenever she was at the Shabbat dinner, this Jewish man would bless her too. And she said that feeling that she got in the home when Shabbat came, where all the children would line up and she would get a blessing, she said she had that feeling of peace and unconditional love and acceptance. And she said that she got this feeling that no matter what your wins or your losses or accomplishments were that week or not, when it came Shabbat, you were a child of God. And you were loved unconditionally for who you are, not for what you did. And you felt blessed. And she said, I wanted moviegoers to feel that feeling of being blessed and being loved unconditionally by God. Here is a woman who's 39 years old, but that warmth and self-esteem that she got as a child from the Shabbat table still elevates her, still makes her feel like she's on a cloud. And that's the message and the feeling she said she wanted to impart and inspire her entire movie today. And that is the message of the clouds floating. Every one of us has a soul. The soul is connected to God. And therefore, the more we feel that connection, the body pulls us down. But the soul is like a cloud. It's like a flame. It rises up. And the more we're in tune with our soul, the more we feel our soul's elevation, like the flame or like the cloud that goes in the upward, pulling us towards the heaven. Michelangelo was once asked by somebody when he made that famous statue of Moses, how do you create such beautiful statues out of a slab of stone? And he said, I don't create the statue. He says, Moses was in the stone. All I did was see Moses inside the stone. And then I chiseled around the statue and released and freed the statue of Moses from within the stone. We all have a godly soul, but the more we chisel away on the physicality, on the coarse exterior of our soul, the more in tune we are with our divine connection, the lighter we become, the freer we become, and the more elevated and connected to God we're able to become. Let's release that Moses inside of us and allow it to soar on high. Have a wonderful day.